Hey everyone, I'm Trevor, and today we are at LEGOLAND California to give you an ultimate ride guide for 2026. We're going to show you every single ride, including the new ones from LEGO Galaxy. So let's get going. To make things easier, we are going to go land by land and showcase every ride in each of those lands before moving on. We're going to start here at Dino Valley and work our way clockwise around the park. This is one of the newer feeling lands in the park now that the old attractions here have been rethemed. It's a pretty family-friendly area overall, with one small coaster and two very gentle rides that make this a good starting point if you've got younger kids. First up in Dino Valley is Coastersaurus. The height requirement here is 36 inches, and this is a really good first coaster for kids who are ready to test the waters without jumping straight into the bigger stuff. It's a short little coaster, but that's kind of the point. You get a quick burst of speed, some fun turns, and you zip past Lego dinosaurs, which is usually more than enough to make younger kids feel like they just did something big. Next is DUPLO Little Dino Trail, which used to be Safari Trek. There's no minimum height requirement here, so this one is one of the easiest rides in the park for families with little kids. It's a gentle trail ride, and the little extra bit that makes it more than just a slow drive is that you're following clues to spot the hidden DUPLO dinosaurs along the way. It's simple, but for younger kids, simple is exactly what makes it work. Then you've got Explorer River Quest, which replaced Fairy Tale Brook. There's no minimum height requirement on this one either, and this is basically Dino Valley's calm family boat ride. You're heading into the jungle looking for the rarest Lego dinosaur, so it's not thrilling, but it is one of those rides that the whole family can do together without worrying about leaving anybody behind. Next up is LEGO Movie World. This is one of the best lands in the park, and it has a nice mix of different ride types. You've got a simple family ride, a more intense little drop ride, and then one of the bigger headliner attractions in the whole park. The first ride that you're going to come across is Queen Watevra's Carousel, and if I'm being completely honest, this is probably the most uncomfortable carousel that I've ever been on. In an effort to make the seats realistic to actual Lego pieces, they've actually ended up making them really stiff. Anyway, it's just a typical carousel, nothing fancy here. Next up is Unikitty's Disco Drop. Have you ever done a drop ride before? Yeah, this is that, but way more intense, because not only do you drop, you spin as well. The spinning isn't bad, it's a slow rotation, but it adds a flavor of uniqueness to the standard drop ride format. I just love this attraction. Every time I'm on it, I can't stop laughing. Unikitty's Disco Drop has a minimum height requirement of 40 inches. But the mainline attraction here at LEGO Movie World is going to be this giant pink cat thing. Yeah, it's kind of hard to miss. This building is home to Emmet's flying adventure, Masters of Flight. This is a giant IMAX simulation ride that will have you flying around the various lands of the LEGO movie with bright flashing lights and scents. It's basically the Soarin' of LEGOLAND California, if you're familiar with that Disneyland attraction. This one tends to make my wife sick, so beware of that, but it is a fun attraction with a height requirement of 40 inches. After leaving LEGO Movie World, but before we get to LEGO Galaxy, we're actually going to come across DUPLO Playtown, which has two rides located in it. The first of these is the Kid Power Tower, which is just what it sounds like. A tower that you climb with kid power. Or, in the case of my kids, a daddy power. Pull on a rope and you'll climb higher and higher as the ride slowly rotates around, giving you a good view of the whole park. This is a fun one that my kids rarely miss. The minimum height requirement on the Kid Power Tower is 40 inches, but riders who are between 40 inches and 48 inches will need an accompanying companion of 14 years or older. Right next door is the LEGOLAND Express. This small train ride is really meant only for the littlest of kids, though I've ridden it a few times myself. Come and enjoy it if you like. There's no height requirement for this ride when children are accompanied by an adult. From here, we move over into LEGO Galaxy, which is the newest addition for 2026 and is the biggest thing that people are going to be talking about at LEGOLAND this year. This land has a nice range to it too, because there's something here for little kids, something more in the middle, and then the big new coaster that's clearly meant to be for everyone.
But before we get to that ride, the first ride you're going to see is Launch and Land. Now, this replaced Sky Patrol when this land used to be Funtown. Part of Funtown got turned into LEGO Galaxy. Funtown still exists, but we'll get to that in a minute as well. The height requirement here is 34 inches, and this is very clearly the younger kid ride of the land. It's built as a playful little flight training simulator for them, where they can practice their takeoffs and landings. It's not meant to be for big thrills. It's really just here so that the littlest visitors can feel like there's something in this new land for them as well. Next is G-Force Test Facility. This is a brand new ride. The height requirement here is 40 inches, and riders also have to be at least 4 years of age to ride. If you're familiar with other theme parks in the Southern California area, this is very similar to SeaWorld San Diego's Riptide Rescue. It swings, turns, and tilts to give you a more intense experience than the gentler attractions nearby. So even though it's still family friendly, this is definitely a step up and one of the rides in this land for kids who want something a little more motion and thrill. And then you've got Galacticoaster, which of course is the big new headline ride for LEGOLAND California, located here in LEGO Galaxy. The height requirement is 36 inches, which is actually quite surprising because it is a fairly intense coaster, but it's still tame enough to keep the height requirement low so it can be enjoyed by as many people as possible. Once you enter the queue, you're going to be able to design your own spaceship. Of course, this is meant to make the wait a little bit more tolerable because it is going to have a long line, being the most popular ride in the land. But the cool part is this isn't just about eating up time that you're waiting in line. You actually get to take this spaceship on the ride with you. This attraction uses relatively new technology that's been rolling out in theme parks as of late that allows the ride vehicles to also rotate as you go around turns and corners. We've seen this at Cosmic Rewind in Walt Disney World in Florida, but we're also going to be getting it at Universal Studios Hollywood as well with Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. But at LEGOLAND California, that makes it a first of its kind attraction here on the West Coast, so it is going to be super popular this year. Next, we come into Funtown, or what's left of it, and this is one of the most important lands in the whole park because it has some of the most LEGOLAND attractions at LEGOLAND. What do I mean by that? Well, these are the driving rides, and this alone makes it a major stop for a lot of families. That is driving school. Now, driving school used to be located where LEGO Galaxy currently sits, so they did have to relocate it. And to do that, they had to tear out the Fire and Police Academy attraction that was here before, if you've been to LEGOLAND in the past. So that is gone. And now, we still have the two different driving schools. We've got the main driving school and the junior driving school. First up, let's talk about junior. It's for ages 3 to 5. There's no minimum height requirement here, but it does have a hard age gap. So you have to be at least 3, and once you're past 5, you move on to the main driving school. It's a tiny little experience here, but it's iconic and classic for LEGOLAND California. And then, of course, you've got the main driving school, which is for ages 6 to 13. When my wife was a kid, driving school was her most memorable attraction that she visited when she came here to LEGOLAND. And for my kids, it probably will be as well. This is just so great for them. It gives them the freedom to drive around on their own without an adult in the vehicle steering or pressing the pedals. And they just absolutely love this. However, with the new relocation, I do want you to be aware that the footprint of this ride has shrunk a little bit. It's still pretty large, but not quite as expansive as it used to be. From here, we're going to head on over into Pirate Shores, which has 3 boat-themed attractions. The first one that you are going to see coming around the corner is actually going to be Captain Cranky's Challenge. However, the entrance is located around the corner from here. And the real first attraction that you're going to be able to visit is actually Skipper School. Now, this is quite possibly the most popular ride in the area because, as the name would imply, Skipper School is very similar to driving school. But instead of driving a car, you're driving a boat, and it is completely free of a track. There's some barriers on the side, but there's nothing keeping you going in a certain line. You can bang the walls if you want to. You can get turned around in there as well, which does create a traffic jam, so I wouldn't recommend it. But this is super fun for all ages, and the height requirement here is 34 inches. And then next up is this area for Splash Battle. Now, on my most recent visit, they had some construction walls up, which made me believe that this was just down for refurbishment and that it was going to be opening up again soon. However, in preparing for this guide, I found that they completely removed Splash Battle from the LEGOLAND California website, which sort of hints to me that they might be removing this attraction permanently. However, other rumors that I've seen said that the ride is staying, so I don't exactly know what's going on here. If it does happen to reopen again, this is a fun one because you you get to ride around with some squirt guns on your ride vehicle, and you get to basically shoot people off the ride with water blasters, as well as other people who are on the ride with you. But not only that, the people who are off the ride have water guns themselves, and they can spray you. So it's just great fun. It is going to get you a little bit wet, but very fun theming and very fun ride here at Legoland. But then we do have Captain Cranky's Challenge, and this is a rocking and spinning attraction that can be a little nausea-inducing and frightening for small children. This is very similar to what they have over at SeaWorld San Diego called Rescue Rafters, previously Oscar's Rock and Eel. It starts by just going back and forth, but then it does start to spin. So this does have a minimum height requirement of 34 inches to ride. It's not one that I go on very often personally, and I think you can see why. And the final ride on this land is going to be Pirate Reef, and this is a shared attraction with the Legoland Water Park, which you can go to if you pay the additional admission costs, but if you don't want to pay for the additional admission, you can still ride Pirate Reef as a part of the main Legoland Park experience. The height requirement here is 36 inches, and yes, you absolutely should go in expecting to get wet, but not just wet, completely soaked. That's why there are some lockers located just outside the attraction, so if you want to store your things or get changed into some swim clothes, I would highly recommend it, because you're going to need it. As we move along from here, before we get to the next big area, which is Castle Hill, you're going to come across a mini land called Lego City. There's only one ride here, and it is Deep Sea Adventure. Deep Sea Adventure is going to be an underwater submarine ride that will take you around hunting for treasure, and you're going to seek to become a master explorer in the process. You got a little video screen, and as you find the different treasures along the way, be it picture frames or gold or gems, you're going to click the buttons, and it is going to award you a rank based on how many of them you actually found. If you missed some, you're going to get a lower score. It's really fun. There's also some live fish and sharks in here as well, but don't worry, the submarine doesn't actually get submerged below the waterline. You're just looking through viewing panels that are underwater, and therefore this does not have a height requirement and is perfectly safe for the whole family. And then, of course, we do move over into Castle Hill, which is one of the better themed areas in the park. In fact, it's my favorite theme of all of the lands that are located at Legoland California. And the primary ride here is going to be the Dragon Coaster, which is the second of 3 roller coasters located at Legoland, California. You'll start off with an indoor dark ride portion, which I'm not allowed to film, so I can't show it to you, but it's very similar to other dark rides that you might have been in before. It has a story, and they're all made out of Lego, and it's really fun. And then you get to the outdoor coaster portion, which is my youngest son's favorite part of the ride, and in fact, the Dragon is his favorite ride in the entire park. The Dragon does have a minimum height requirement of 40 inches. Right across from that is Royal Joust. The height requirement here is 36 inches, but I want you to note that riders also have to be between the ages of 4 and 12 because kids are going to be riding this by themselves, and so they do need to be old enough as well as tall enough in order to ride it. Children ride their own Lego horse throughout the forest, and while it's pretty simple, it's also exactly the kind of thing that makes Legoland California unique, because this is a ride that they are going to remember for years to come. It's a core key moment of visiting Legoland California, getting to go on the Royal Joust, just the same as driving school. Next up is the Land of Adventure. This area of the park features one major attraction and a variety of smaller ones. And if you're walking clockwise around the park like we are in this video, the first attraction you're going to come across is actually Dune Raiders. Now, this isn't a ride per se, but it's listed on Legoland's attraction page, so we'll include it here. When it's open, Dune Raiders is a sack slide attraction with a minimum height requirement of 36 inches. You'll probably also notice on the opposite side Beetle Bounce. Now, this is a bit smaller of a drop ride, similar to Unikitty's Disco Drop, but it doesn't spin, and it's not as tall, and it's definitely a lot tamer. The minimum height requirement here is 36 inches, but there's also a height maximum of 55 inches, so adults cannot ride this. Kids must ride alone. That means that you can grow out of this one, and the seats are small, so you wouldn't have wanted to ride on it anyway. SeaWorld San Diego allows adults to ride their version, and it's not very comfortable. But don't worry, the little kids are absolutely going to love this one, especially if they're budding thrill junkies. Right next to Beetle Bounce is the entrance to the major attraction, the Lost Kingdom Adventure. This ride features a 30-inch height requirement and is a lot like laser tag. Each party member will receive a laser gun, and your goal is to shoot the targets in the slow-moving dark ride. You get a score at the end to see how you stacked up against your family members. It's kind of like a mix of Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters and the shooting gallery at Disneyland. Directly opposite Lost Kingdom Adventure is Cargo Ace. This is a small airplane-type ride that features no height requirement, provided that an adult accompanies the child. Children must be a minimum of 36 inches to ride alone. It's a pretty simple and small attraction, but my kids love it when they get a chance to ride it. Moving on over into the Imagination Zone, you'll find 2 rides, and the first ride you're going to come across is the LEGO Technic Coaster, which is one of LEGOLAND California's most popular rides. This is a Wild Mouse-style attraction and is the largest, most thrilling ride in the entire park. It doesn't get any more intense than this, so use this as a good benchmark for your family. It features a 42-inch height requirement and has a minimum age requirement of 4 years old. A little bit further along is BIONICLE Blaster. Riders must also be 42 inches tall and 4 years of age to ride. This is quite shocking to me personally because it's just a spinning teacup ride. Most attractions like this in theme parks have no height requirement, but perhaps here at LEGOLAND it's a bit faster. It does seem like it's possible. It also feels like there's a bit more space in the ride vehicles, which is a big plus for me, but that might mean that you slide around a bit more as well, which could be why there's a height requirement. We have 2 lands left in the park and they're kind of right next to each other, so we're just going to start with Miniland USA. This land is obviously more about the incredible LEGO displays that are here, more than the rides, but there is one attraction of note, and that's going to be Coast Cruise, which is one of my favorite rides in the entire park. Now, this is a slow-moving boat attraction that's fun for the whole family with no height requirement. You're going to get a guided tour through a bunch of different LEGO displays, including the Taj Mahal, the Eiffel Tower, Big Ben, and more. It features a lot of dry humor, just like Jungle Cruise at Disneyland, which is why Coast Cruise is one of my favorites. From there, we're going to head over into the NINJAGO area, and this is the final land in the park, which also only has a single ride. And that's going to be LEGO NINJAGO The Ride. There is no height requirement here if children are accompanied by someone at least 14 years or older. Otherwise, children must be at least 48 inches to ride alone. This is a video game style ride that will have you slinging magical bolts of energy to defeat the enemy and score points. At the end, you get your score, and you see how you rank against a Grandmaster. It's a pretty fun ride. And to keep the Disneyland comparisons going, this is similar to Web Slingers' Spider-Man Adventure over at Disney California Adventure. However, LEGO NINJAGO The Ride is actually the original that Web Slingers is modeled after, and because of that, the technology here is a little dated, and you might find it harder to use than Web Slingers. That being said, it's still a fun ride and a great one if you love competing against your family members.
And that's it for our time here today at LEGOLAND California, giving you an ultimate ride guide. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. If you want to see a tour of LEGOLAND, go ahead and click this video right here. And if you would like a guide for everything else at the park, go ahead and click this video right here. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.